What are the emotions after that one, Chris?
Obviously disappointed. I think we had some opportunities in that first 10 minutes and down their end we just didn't come away with kind of a try or anything like that. Probably a little bit conservative in that first half with the wind. I think we looked pretty good when we were against the wind when we had to play some footy. So probably sat back a little bit too much in that first half and watched the Crusaders play.
Was the plan to take points off, like in terms of 3 points, if necessary?
Well, I think it depends where they are. I mean, if the 3 points from in front early on, I think take the points. We don't send a message out to the boys on what to do. We leave that up to the judgment of the players because they've got a feel for what's going on out in the field, so we leave that up to them.
Do you feel like this team's a confidence team? Like clearly a try sparks something, another excellent try. Do you feel that like it is there, but they're a confidence side at times?
Yeah, I mean, I think any team gets confidence in how they play. Look at the Crusaders, they score a try and they get the ball and, try and run the ball from their own try line because, that's all confidence. But, we're a young team starting out, so, I think one of the things we're trying to work on is having that confidence for the 80 minutes because we do some good things and then we just have a little lapse of concentration. So it's all about putting that 80-minute performance in.
Defensively, Chris, it's 50 points again. Are we attitudes, is it structural, is it just the makings of the team, the young team coming together, as you're saying?
Yeah, I think it's the cohesion and the cohesion playing with each other, getting used to what each other's doing. Defence is, it's all about time in the saddle, I think, and getting used to each other. Crusaders are a dangerous team, but if you look at it, if you look at the stats that we had after the game, I think they made 8 line breaks and we made 7. So, I think what they do is they're good at hanging on to the ball and going through their phases. They don't necessarily make line breaks, but they make line bends, and they just keep building on it and building on it and building on it. I think the longer we defend together, the better we'll get.
The wind might not be too far away these last couple of weeks, and you can get over the line and you are trending in the right direction.
We spoke about it in the sheds. If we make small shifts in our defence, we can definitely score points. Defence for us, if we just tweak a few things, we're definitely going to put ourselves in a position to win games. Like you've seen, 3 or 4 tries again today, what did we finish on? 30 points. If we can just limit how many points they score, we're aiming to win sort of the last 2 games.
Do you get the sense that because in the second half, after you had a couple of tries, that you had a chance of running over something?
Yeah, I could feel we scored 2 tries in the space of 5 minutes and we had the ascendancy. And like Witz touched on, I think we played really well going into the wind and probably a little bit too conservative in that first half in reflection. But we're a young team for majority and we're trying to learn. If it could be a little bit sharp around that gold zone, we finish with 2 more tries and we give it a really good shape. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Chris, we were talking about the defense of the Waratahs, but at the same time, all the Australian teams have been conceding more or less 14 points a goal. What's the story here? Why are they so weakly keen to break these defenses?
I think there's a couple of things. I think in the Super Rugby in New Zealand, a lot of their tries come from unstructured attack, which is obviously something that we're quite not, because in the Australian Trans-Tasman, the Australian Super Rugby, I think it's like 50% over there come from unstructured rugby. So, they're really good at getting the ball in unstructured circumstances and just playing footy. Their offloading skills, they're big athletes. So you give them a little bit of space and they take it. You saw the Hurricanes last week. They're on defence for 5 minutes, all of a sudden turnover and they run 80 metres and score. And that's the strength of the Kiwis rugby. We haven't played for a while, so it's definitely going to be a focus area moving forward in the years to come, is that unstructured side of rugby.
So how do you close the gap?
I don't think we're far away. I mean, if you look at all the teams, the Force had a close game. I think there's bits and pieces in all the games, but I think it's just about finishing off games. I think one thing they've got good depth over there at the moment. For some reason, a lot of Australian teams have had some injuries here and there, but they've got really good depth where they can, and systems where they can just bring players in, and it doesn't seem to affect us as much. But I don't think we're far away, that's for sure.
Should we start mixing, getting players from New Zealand to bring a little bit of that, more footy culture, or to help some of the teams?
Yeah, I don't think we want to play like the Kiwis. We want to play like us. Yes, we have to defend how they play, but at the same time, and I'm not here to say that we want to play like the Kiwis. We've got our own brand of rugby, and that's what we're proud of doing, and we just got to get better at it.
It just seems that the skills level is still a little bit uneven in Australia. Yes, there will be players that will be brilliant, 3-4 players, brilliant during the game. Next game it will be 3-4 different ones. Whereas the Kiwi teams, it's everyone's turning up on the day. And you can see props throwing balls around, and you see them. How do we break that?
You watched Angus Bell?
Sorry.
If you watched Angus Bell, he's a pretty good prop. He's got some skills. But I really think, on Witz's point, maybe depth could be maybe seen as an issue. If you look at the 4 tests last year between the Australian Kiwis, arguably the best team over the last sort of 5 years. First game's a draw. Second game's a good contest over at Eden Park. They performed really well at ANZ, and then we beat them at Suncorp. So, I think it's a competitive at international, very very competitive. I just think. Like Witz touched on, the transition's very impressive, and going from Super Rugby AU where the transition isn't as high, it takes some adjustments. That's somewhere where we really need to improve our defence.
What's the story of Harry Johnson Holmes? Obviously, he kept playing and then got.
No, he had I think a bit of a whack and a bit of a knock in the neck, but then they looked at it on footage and they thought they're better off just bringing him off for HIA. I think he's fine. He's in the change rooms. Yeah, he's all right.
And Ben Johnson.
Yeah, he was kicking in the captain's run yesterday, and I think he felt a bit of a groin issue, and then he could keep playing, but he said he couldn't hit top speed, so he just thought it was best to bring him off and get some ice on it.